It's pretty incredible when you think about it. Your body has its very own high-tech, 24/7 security team. We're talking an elite force that is always on the job, protecting you from all sorts of microscopic invaders. So let's take a closer look at how this amazing team actually works.
But hang on a second. What if that super smart, highly trained security team got confused? What if it started mistaking its own home base for the enemy and started, well, attacking itself?
To really wrap our heads around that, we first need to meet the team. Think of this as the official mission briefing. Let's get to know the key players who are keeping you safe right now. The official name for this whole operation, it's the immune system. It's this absolutely incredible network that's constantly on patrol, identifying and taking care of threats long before they can cause any real trouble. First up on the roster, meet the Sentinels. These guys are the lookouts, the guards on the wall. They're called natural killer cells, or NK cells for short. They are your first line of defense, always patrolling and spotting any cells that just don't look right.
Okay, so what happens when an alarm is raised? Well, that's when you call in the first responders, the neutrophils. These are the ones who swarm the scene of the crime. They're the rapid response unit, getting there super fast to contain any problem.
Now, every great team needs a leader, right? Someone to call the shots. Meet the captains of this squad, the T cells. These are the strategists. They get to the scene, they assess the threat, and they give the crucial orders, either go, 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 neutralize the threat, or, just as important, stand down, false alarm. And of course, no top-tier security force would be complete without an intelligence division. And that's where the B cells come in. Think of them as the brilliant analysts who create and maintain the most wanted list. This list is made up of something called antibodies, and it helps the whole team instantly recognize a bad guy they've dealt with before. So you have this perfectly organized team, right? Everyone has their job, but sometimes the communication lines get crossed. It's a tragic case of mistaken identity, and the whole system starts to malfunction.
And this brings us to a condition known as lupus. In our security team story, lupus is what happens when the first gets confused. It starts seeing friendly faces, your own body's cells, as dangerous intruders, and it launches an all-out attack against them.
This slide really lays it all out. On the left, you've got a healthy, happy security force doing its job and only going after outside threats. But on the right, in a situation like lupus, that same force is in a state of civil war, mistakenly attacking the very body it's sworn to protect.
Okay, but this is where the science gets really, really cool. Researchers are always looking for ways to kind of, restore order. And in some very early lab studies, they've started looking into what you might call a potential peacemaker, like a special consultant you'd bring in to calm things down. So, who is this consultant? It's a compound called resveratrol, or RSV for short. Now, I have to be absolutely crystal clear here. We're talking about very early lab models. This is not a treatment. Scientists are just exploring to see if it might have the potential to help guide that confused immune system back to a more balanced state. So, what did these very early investigations find? Well, the research points to a potential 4-point plan for how this consultant might help bring order back to our security force. Let's walk through it together. So here's the game plan they're looking at. First, calm down those super jumpy sentinels. Second, find a way to balance the overeager first responders. Third, basically retrain the captains who are giving the orders. And fourth, correct the intelligence files so they stop targeting friendlies. All right, strategy number 1 is all about those sentinels, the NK cells. See, in some of these situations, they can get way too overactivated. They're just too jumpy. This early research suggests that RSV might help dial back that overactivation, which could lead to better team communication and restore some balance. Next up, those first responders. When the neutrophils are way too aggressive, it can cause problems and lead to flare-ups. So RSV is being studied to see if it can help them find their balance, partly by influencing the body's own natural antioxidant defenses. And what about the leadership? The captains, those T cells, are absolutely crucial. In the lab, it looks like RSV might help balance their signals, making them better at knowing when to shout attack versus when to give that vital stand down order. The goal here is to promote what's called tolerance, so they stop seeing friendly cells as a threat. And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, the Intel division. I mean, if your most wanted list is wrong, the entire operation goes sideways. These early studies suggest RSV might help support the B cells in doing their job correctly, helping them regulate that threat list so they're not flagging the wrong targets.
Okay, we've gone through some pretty fascinating early science, but now we have reached the single most important rule in this entire explainer. This is the ultimate chain of command, and it can never, ever be ignored.
So, here it is, the most crucial point, and I am reading this directly from the source material to make sure we all get it. RSV is not an FDA-approved treatment for lupus. This is experimental science, not medical advice, period. What that means is you must always consult your healthcare professional. If your immune system is a security team, then your doctor is the commander-in-chief. They have the full intelligence report, they see the whole picture, and they're the only person qualified to make decisions about your health. It is truly amazing to watch science explore these incredibly complex systems, isn't it? And it just leaves us with a final thought. As we learn more and more about how our own bodies work, how can we best support this amazing, dedicated team that is working so hard, day in and day out, to protect us?